All right, now we got some updates on a few stories we followed on this program, including the undercover NYPD officer involved in that brutal attack on the west side of Manhattan. Well, remember that story? The sentence came down today. He got 2 years in prison. He was convicted of second-degree assault, as well as several other charges, and he also is gone from the force. And because he did nothing to stop the assault and was involved in the chase, he could have faced up to 7 years. Now we move to Texas and the Sandra Bland case. Her family is now suing for wrongful death. Bland, you may remember, was arrested after a traffic stop. She refused to put out her cigarette, and it escalated from there. The cop threatened to tase her, and it got to the point where the officer claimed she resisted arrest, kicked him in the shin. She was taken then to jail, and she was found hanging in her cell a couple of days later. Now, cameras played a big part in both of the cases we've just mentioned, and now there's controversy over body cameras in New York City. An inspector general is saying that cops should be prevented from seeing the video before they give statements to investigators. Commissioner Bill Bratton, he strongly disagrees, and he says officers should see it. Okay. So here's the question. I'm going to ask you guys both to play advocate and opponent to this. Jimmy, I'll start with you. Take the position of opponents to this, the saying in the Inspector General, why should they first be able to look at this before they make a statement?
They shouldn't be. They shouldn't be. This is a mechanical reproduction of something that happened, and they should not be given the opportunity to view what was captured and what was not captured, which is also an issue that we have with the cams, and then tailor their testimony or tailor their statements in order to exonerate themselves. We don't get discovery before we defend our clients. We get it a day, a week before a trial occurs. We don't get other people's testimony.
Yeah, but Jimmy, they're going to say they're not similarly situated to an ordinary criminal because they make hundreds of arrests and have hundreds of encounters, and that they can't remember every single incident, whereas a regular civilian has one of these things and it's going to stand out
so
very distinctively.
So say you don't remember. Say you don't remember. If you don't remember, you don't remember. Maybe. But you know something? You have to testify at a trial, and you have to recall what you saw, what you heard, and so on and so forth. That's not recorded in your memo book, which is basically just one, two, or three lines.
Their argument is that it's no different from having them look at the memo book. My argument would be, why do they need more than the memo book? Their subjective impressions, what they write contemporaneously, will be a better window into their state of mind than an ex-post viewing of a film where they could make up a story months later.
They have their memo book, they have their reports, they can refresh their recollection with that, and then they should be able to recall what happened and not what was captured and not captured, so that they can figure out a way to tailor their testimony.
Depending on what department you're dealing with, lots of officers that have you believe they don't keep a memo book. So they have a perfect recollection of a case 2 or 3 years later, and they say they've never made a memo entry.
And now they need their recollection
refreshed.
Right.
But you know, if you want it to be a productive practice, you want people to make statements. So you want them to, the tape is what the tape is. I agree with you. It's not going to change. So regardless of what they say, you're still going to look at the tape. You want the person to be able to look at it. Did you look at it? You had ample time. You saw the whole thing. Okay, what happened? And that way, when they do give a statement, they can't say, well, I didn't remember. It was a long time ago. I was confusing with another one. If he sees it and you see it and he gives a statement, there's nowhere to go on that.
But Doug, he's giving a statement, and he is subjected to either discipline, potential arrest. He's subjected to ramifications. Why should he have the opportunity to look at it, knowing what the claim is, knowing what the claim is going to be, and then tailor his testimony?
How about letting him look at it in the presence of an investigator and getting the prompt outcry, the immediate reaction to it, and see what happens when he looks at it for the first time?
Because the union rep's going to make sure there is no prompt outcry. But to Jim's point, I think you hit it right in the head. It allows you to tailor your testimony and your recollection to what's on that tape. And before we had these tapes, you had, what was it, 48 hours before you had to make any statement, which gave you plenty of time also. Now, if you get arrested, they're not going to show you the video of the incident until right before you go to trial. So, I mean, if anything, those are the people who need to see. Our clients should see the evidence against them much sooner. We should see that right away. The
argument, though, is this doesn't happen in a vacuum, which is obviously police departments, fairly or not, believe they're under assault right now, that whatever happens, they're considered guilty until almost proven innocent. To that point, there was collective bargaining, which cameras came out to be. They believe, okay, we've given, we're now going to wear, we're going to be able to do this, and now you're going to prevent us, law enforcement, from even being able to see what's on our person before we have to speak.
Why do
I
you
understand
need-
your argument.
You be the cop. Why do you need to see it?
Well, because the argument, as I read it at least, is it's context. That depending, just camera doesn't capture everything, but if he sees what is captured on camera, he can explain his course of events. I understand your point, which is
Explain
you
it,
can tailor your testimony.
But explain it, be honest, be truthful, and then when you have the tape in front of you, you can add context. But that tape is going to capture things, it's not going to capture things, and you shouldn't have the opportunity to tailor it beforehand. If you're telling the truth, you know, look, it could be something like that tape captures something that you deny happened.
Like in the Cincinnati case where the officer claims he was dragged by the car, but the tape clearly shows that never happened. Well, he wasn't mistaken there.
And he would never have
He
claimed
made that up. And so now if he had seen that tape, he would have come up with a different story. And then we wouldn't probably be talking about the case because that story might have been
But
closer
you're
to something that's
asking
believable.
people, they're police officers, they work, this is their job. You're asking them now to get a lawyer, and the lawyer's going to advise them to say, listen, unless you know exactly what that tape is going to show, you shouldn't be making a statement other than I was there, he was there, and I made an arrest.
Well, here's an argument.
Everything else I don't really remember.
Here's an
very
argument
clearly.
in your favor. They have to make a statement. When it's the police department, they have to make a
No, they
statement.
don't. They have to make a statement if they want to maintain their employment. Just like our
Well,
clients
okay,
don't
but
have to
that's
make
what
a
I mean.
statement
That's
either.
what I mean.
So
If they don't
right.
make a statement, then they lose their jobs, and that is an issue that should be considered.
But to your point, again, if someone makes a statement and they reasonably don't recall every single thing that occurred, you're not going to lose your job.
And Rich, this isn't about catching people in lies. This isn't about a continued attack on police
You can understand
officers.
how police see
I
it
do.
that way. Though.
I do. But you know something? Tell the truth. If you don't remember something, say you don't remember it. The tape is not going to hurt you. It's about that very, very few that would look at the tape and tailor their testimony and lie.
And
Again,
you know-
most cops are good guys. They're going to tell the truth.
And I can just tell you guys, because not just on Wednesdays with you, but throughout the week, obviously this has been a hot button issue, wherever the dateline this has been, whether it be Staten Island, whether Cincinnati, Cleveland, Missouri, wherever. In the same show, I've gotten angry letters saying, I'm turning you off, you're so anti-cop. And in the same show, I get another note saying, you're so pro-cop here, you don't know what it's like to walk a day in my shoes as a person of color over here, I'm never going to watch again. So this is such a, I made the point that there's shades of gray in this. This isn't as much black and white as everyone would like it to always believe here. This is complicated stuff, and this is just
Yeah,
yet
but
another
Shades
element
of
now with
Grey
video.
don't sell newspapers, and they don't sell broadcasts. And of course, there's shades of gray in almost each and every one of these.
Mark
incidents.
said he's going to stop sending those letters saying he's a person of color, too.
And you know, with him, he writes them on both sides. And Mayo, he writes them from both sides, you know, right?
Both sides.
Okay.
That's what we do.
So you were Louisiana. All right, now we want to get you involved in our conversation as always. Head over to Facebook and Twitter and sound off on a question. Should police officers see that body cam video before they give their official statements? All right, coming up next. Police have a new technology that can intercept your cell phone calls here right from the towers and even penetrate walls to listen in. Are you ready for this? They can do it without a warrant. Now, you thought the NSA was bad. Wait till you hear more about what's called the Stingray.